Welcome back to the deep dive, and listen up. For this session, we're cutting the crap, seriously. This isn't going to be some, polite little chat about a movie. We're going unfiltered on a release that's making waves, and honestly, the film itself demands it. We're talking visceral, claustrophobic horror, raw energy required.
That's exactly right. We are digging deep into, a true modern horror benchmark. A film that doesn't just scare you, it genuinely makes you feel, well, profoundly fucked up inside.
Yeah?
We're talking about the massive 20th anniversary 4K UHD SteelBook of Neil Marshall's 2005 masterpiece, The Descent. It hits 20 years old next year, 2025. And Lionsgate, they're finally giving it the definitive presentation it absolutely deserves.
Okay, so our mission today, it's pretty simple. We've gone through everything we could find. Lionsgate's tech specs, the early buzz on the restoration, super detailed looks at this limited steelbook that's driving collectors nuts. We are pulling out every single critical nugget of info you need before you, inevitably dive into the pre-order chaos and drop some serious cash. Because let's be real, this isn't just another anniversary release.
No way!
This is the version horror fans have been practically begging for 2 decades. And it looks like a fucking massive upgrade, across the board.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
Think about it. 6 women fighting for their lives against these bloodthirsty, blind subterranean crawlers in absolute pitch black, disorienting darkness.
Yeah.
You need serious technical precision to get that raw terror onto the screen properly. And this release, it promises to deliver just that.
So the quick facts for everyone tracking this, it's a Lionsgate Films exclusive. Street date is November 11th, 2025 for the U.S.
And crucially, this is the first 4K release anywhere in the world. So for, the purists, the collectors, this is basically the main event for horror on home video in 2025, at least so far. It's a big fucking deal.
All right, let's start with the film itself. Section 1, revisiting the raw terror and, importantly, the cuts. For anyone listening who somehow hasn't experienced this absolute masterpiece of dread, the foundation of fear here is, layered. It doesn't start with monsters.
No, not at all. That's the genius.
It starts with the human element, right?
Yeah.
6 women, friends, dealing with this heavy shared tragedy. They go on this caving trip, this spelunking adventure deep into some uncharted system in the Appalachians.
Right.
Then, boom, rockfall. They're trapped. Then the monsters show up, the crawlers. The tension is already unbearable before you even see a creature.
And that setup, that structure, that's the brilliance of Neil Marshall, the director. The film operates on these 2 brutal levels simultaneously. First, you've got the intense, fractured relationships between the women, especially Sarah and Juno.
Yeah, the grief, the guilt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That emotional core is already incredibly tense, already kind of fucked up before anything supernatural even happens. They're battling their own demons down there.
Right.
And second, and maybe this hits even harder, Marshall masterfully exploits that inherent, almost universal fear of caves, speleophobia.
Speleophobia, yeah, that's the one. The fear of, tight, dark, enclosed spaces, being completely cut off, helpless.
Marshall makes you feel the literal weight of the earth pressing down, the lack of light, the disorientation, the physical struggle of squeezing through those tiny passages. You feel every single agonizing second of it.
You absolutely do. It's why the film has such a reputation. We looked it up. Still holding strong at 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's widely seen as a benchmark for modern horror.
Totally. And it's because Marshall didn't just make a monster flick. He rooted it in this inescapable psychological terror. And the decision, which was pretty bold back then, to use an all-female cast, that just amplified the intensity.
How so, you think?
Well, it shifted the focus, right? It became about resourcefulness, vulnerability, resilience, but also betrayal under extreme pressure. It felt raw, unexpected, and just fucking brutal. Hugely influential on the horror films that came after.
Let's just stay with that feeling of terror for a second. Marshall got that anxiety across through sheer technical craft. They built those insanely claustrophobic winding cave sets at Pinewood Studios in the UK.
Right, not on location, on a soundstage.
Exactly, which meant they could control the light, or more importantly, the lack of light perfectly, make the caves themselves the main antagonist. Those sets were designed to make you feel utterly lost, physically, mentally, just pure, uncut anxiety delivered through that expert design and really suffocating cinematography. You just feel fucked up watching it.
Precisely. And that visceral impact, that resonance, is why the whole controversy around the different cuts of the film got so heated over the years.
Ah, yes. Here's where it gets really interesting for collectors, for the purists. The Tale of Two Endings.
Thank God Lionsgate finally sorted this shit out.
Right. This 4K set includes both the theatrical US cut and the unrated UK International cut. And this isn't just like a few seconds of extra gore we're talking about.
No. It's a fundamental difference in the ending. It completely changes the film's meaning, its whole philosophy.
Okay, break it down. The US theatrical cut runs 98 minutes. The original unrated cut, the British version, is 99 minutes. 1 minute difference.
But that 1 minute shifts the entire film from being arguably a survival thriller with a dark twist to just total bleak, nihilistic tragedy. There's no ambiguity left.
So what happened? Why the change for the US?
Well, the story goes, when they tested The Descent in the US, audiences apparently found the original UK ending just too relentlessly depressing, too hopeless for a mainstream release.
Wow.
Yeah. So the studio, worried they couldn't market a horror film that ended on such a definitive downer, basically mandated a change. Standard industry bullshit, really.
So they chopped off the very end.
They fiddled with it. The US ending added this, I don't know, this flimsy, almost hopeful feeling escape sequence that just completely undercut the emotional weight Marshall had spent 90 minutes building.
It was a hedge, trying to give the audience some kind of release, even a fake one.
Exactly. In the US cut, Sarah seems to escape the crawlers, gets out, drives away, and for a split second you think, okay, she made it. But then there's that final jump scare reveal. It's a hallucination. She's still in the cave.
Right, I remember that, but the US version cuts it differently.
It ends right after the hallucination of her driving away. It leaves out that final, crushing pullback shot that reveals she's still trapped, alone, surrounded. That moment of true, utter despair left on the cutting room floor for American audiences.
Fuck that, that's the whole point.
That's what fans said. That final moment of hopeless despair is what the unrated cut puts back. It shows the brief escape hallucination, then pulls back, she's still there, alone, imagining her dead daughter. Then it cuts to black. No ambiguity, game over.
Yeah.
Tragedy complete.
And fans were rightly pissed off for years about the censored US version.
Oh, absolutely pissed off. It felt dishonest. It cheated Sarah's journey, cheated the film's relentless tone. People felt robbed of the gut punch the film had earned.
So getting both cuts now, side by side, in native 4K, that finally fixes years of collector frustration. You don't need to import some Region B UK disc anymore.
Exactly. Lionsgate is basically saying, okay, fine. You want the real shit? Here it is. It signals, this is for the purists who demand that uncut original ending of just definitive fucked up despair.
We should probably mention the rating too. It's rated R specifically for intense sequences of horror, violence, blood and gore, and language.
And yeah, the unrated cut technically has a bit more gore, reinstate more visceral crawler attacks and stuff. But the real unrated element is that emotional brutality of the ending. They're basically warning you, this is rough, unforgiving shit. And in 4K,
yeah,
that vision's going to be clearer and probably more horrifying than ever.
Okay, let's get into the tech. Section 2, the technical deep dive. 4K, darkness, and those grotesque fucking details.
Right. This is the core reason collectors are going to be dropping cash. The upgrade.
The previous releases, mostly that gritty old 2K Blu-ray master, they were okay for their time, but...
But this is a brand new native 4K scan, straight from the original camera negative.
Explain why that's such a big deal. Native 4K from the negative.
Okay, so why you need this shit boils down to fidelity, right? A lot of so-called 4K releases are just upscales from an older 2K digital master, a 2K DI, basically lipstick on a pig. The detail is capped at 2K. A native 4K scan means they went back to the actual film celluloid, the source, and scanned every frame at true 4K resolution.
Yeah.
That's a massive leap. It's future-proofing the film. It's the real deal.
The early buzz is saying it feels like rediscovering the film, which for The Descent has got to be about the darkness.
Absolute. Darkness is like 90% of the film's look, its feel, its atmosphere. On older formats, that darkness just turned into this muddy gray noise. Or worse, digital compression bullshit. Just blocks of artifacting.
So how does this new release fix that?
Okay, you've got the native 4K resolution, 2160p, but the killer combo is pairing that with Dolby Vision and HDR10, high dynamic range.
Right, HDR, more contrast, better colors.
Way more than that, especially here. It means you get true, terrifyingly deep blacks, like absolute pitch black where there's no light. In an unlit cave, shadows aren't just dark spots. They're a physical threat. They're where the crawlers are breathing, just out of sight. This tech lets you feel that.
Okay, break down the HDR difference. HDR10 versus Dolby Vision. Why include both? And why does Dolby Vision matter more for cave terror?
Good question. So HDR expands the range between the absolute darkest black and the brightest bright the screen can show. HDR10 uses static metadata. It sets one brightness contrast profile for the whole movie.
Okay.
Dolby Vision uses dynamic metadata. That means you can adjust the picture scene by scene, or even frame by frame. For The Descent, think about it. Moments of total blackness suddenly shattered by a blindingly bright flare or a flashlight beam hitting something awful.
Yeah.
Dolby Vision handles those sudden shifts instantly. The flare is painfully bright, as it should be, but the shadows around it stay detailed and deep and full of menace. They don't just wash out into gray mush or get crushed into a block of black.
Oh, okay. So the shadows stop being like technical limitations and become actual oppressive darkness. You feel the claustrophobia more because the image is just better, cleaner.
Exactly. And that clarity, it's crucial for seeing the crawlers properly. The restoration keeps the film's original, intentionally desaturated, grimy color palette, which is key, right? It feels earthy and dirty. But the HDR boost makes the practical effects, which Marshall insisted on, really pop. The minimal lighting, those helmet lamps, the emergency flares, the blood splatters, they'll have this shocking intensity.
And the crawlers themselves.
You'll see their grotesque designs, that pale, blind skin, the muscles, the dripping saliva, all the fuck-up details with a horrifying clarity that was just lost before. Even in low light, you'll make out their shapes, their movements. It makes them feel so much more real and, frankly, more disgusting and scary. That practical work finally gets its due.
Okay, let's drill into the numbers. The tech specs that collectors obsess over. Codec is HEVCH.265, standard for 4K. Aspect ratio 2.35.1, keeping the original widescreen look. But the bitrate, that's the real flex.
Oh, yeah. The reports are showing a high peak bitrate around 79 megabits per second, maybe even touching higher.
79 megabits. For people who don't live and breathe this shit, why is that number so damn important, especially for a film that's mostly dark?
Because, like I said, low bitrate in a dark film. Recipe for visual bullshit. Compression artifacts galore.
Explain those artifacts. What do they look like?
You get macro blocking, where parts of the image, especially shadows, break up into ugly, visible squares. You get color banding, where smooth gradients of darkness, like light falling off into shadow, turn into distinct, ugly rings, like a topographical map of suck, and mosquito noise, that sort of fizzy, staticky crap around edges.
Awful.
Yeah. And a film like The Descent, full of shifting torchlight, dripping water, sudden movements in the dark by the crawlers. It's basically a torture test for video compression. Low bitrate just can't handle it cleanly.
So 79 millip's peak means...
It means they didn't compromise.
Yeah.
It guarantees those dynamic cave shadows, the water, the creature movement. It's all rendered cleanly. No distracting digital flaws. It tells you the mastering engineers were serious. They didn't try to cram it onto a smaller disc or cut corners. They basically said, fuck that. We're giving the darkness the data it needs to be truly oppressive, truly clean, and truly terrifying. It's a sign of quality.
Fantastic. Okay, let's switch senses. Sound. Arguably even more critical than picture when you're trapped in the dark. The audio is listed as DTS-HD, Master Audio 7.1, 48 kilohertz 24-bit.
Right, which is a very strong, uncompressed, high-resolution track. That DTS-HD MA 7.1 mix is going to deliver those echoing screams, the subterranean rumbles, with huge chest-thumping impact.
And the 7.1 channels.
That means aggressive use of the surround field, which you absolutely need here.
Yeah.
For the sounds of crawlers skittering just out of sight behind you to the side, or just the disorientation of a shout echoing off 6 different rock faces.
Yeah.
You'll get boosted low-end frequency, the LFE channel working overtime. Vital for all the tension-building sounds. The subtle drip, drip, drip of water. The deep groan of shifting rock. The heavy, sickening thud when someone falls. That immersion is key to feeling properly fucked up by the experience.
There's always a but with high-end collectors, isn't there?
Yeah.
The one big complaint we're seeing reported, the thing that seems to have some serious home theater nerds pissed off, is the lack of Dolby Atmos.
Yep. And look, it's a legitimate gripe, even though this 7.1 track will likely sound fantastic.
Explain why. What would Atmos add?
Atmos is object-based audio, instead of just mixing to fixed channels like 7.1. Engineers can place individual sounds, a single water drip, a crawler's shriek as distinct objects in three-dimensional space.
Yeah, including height channels.
Sounds from above you.
Ah, height channels. Caves have height.
Yep.
Exactly. In a film set in a multi-level cave system where threats can literally come from above, below, all around, Atmos is theoretically the ultimate way to deliver that positional terror. Hearing the crawlers climbing the cave walls above you. That's peak horror sound design potential.
Okay, I get the theory, but is it just audiophile snobbery sometimes? For a film that has so much silence punctuated by loud scares, does Atmos really make a huge practical difference compared to a high-quality 7.1 DTS-HD track for, like, the average person with a decent setup.
That's fair. For most people, this uncompressed 7.1 mix is going to sound phenomenal. Massive, immersive, scary as shit. The difference can be subtle, especially if the original sound design wasn't inherently built with extreme height effects in mind back in 2005.
However, for the enthusiast aiming for reference quality, 4K UHD is meant to be the definitive version, and object-based audio, like Atmos, is becoming the reference standards for sound. Missing that height information does mean you lose that specific dimension of terror, the crawler scuttling on the ceiling right over your head. So yeah, while the video seems like a home run, some folks are understandably pissed off about the missed opportunity on the audio front.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, even if it's still really, really good.
Gotcha. And just quickly, the other audio options: Spanish, Dolby Digital 2.0, pretty standard lossy track, and English SDH subtitles.
Right. Standard stuff. The main event is clearly that English 7.1 track.
Okay. Section 3, special features. A treasure trove of fucked up backstories, hopefully.
Yeah, this is where a collector's edition proves its worth beyond just the AV quality.
Mm-hmm.
Do they just dump old DVD extras, or do they actually create something new and essential?
And the verdict.
This set delivers big time. It's a really robust lineup. Looks like somewhere between 2, maybe 3 hours of bonus material in total.
Nice.
And a smart move. All the extras are on the included standard Blu-ray disc. The 4K disc itself is just the movie, both cuts. That maximizes the bitrate for the main presentation. Purist thinking. Love it.
Okay, what's new? The Anniversary Gold. Stuff made specifically for this release.
2 major new featurettes, giving us that crucial 20-year hindsight. First up, What Lies Beneath. Reexploring The Descent. Runs about 20-25 minutes.
What's in it?
Brand new retrospective documentary. New interviews with key cast Shauna McDonald, who played Sarah, Natalie Mendoza, who played Juno, and Neil Marshall himself. They're talking about the film's enduring impact, its influence on modern horror.
I'm definitely interested in hearing them reflect on that all-female cast decision 20 years later. That was pretty groundbreaking for such a physically brutal, non-sexualized horror film back in '05.
Exactly. Hearing them discuss that experience now, the physical toll, the emotional commitment required, the dynamic on set in that isolated, intense environment, that gives you the so what. Why does this film still matter? It really did help define a new wave of survival horror. You can see its DNA in stuff like As Above, So Below, or other claustrophobic thrillers, even monster movies that started focusing more on character drama amidst the chaos.
Yeah, it proves you didn't need a dude with a shotgun to lead a brutal horror film. Seeing Marshall talk about making that choice consciously will be fascinating. What's the second new featurette?
Poetic Pain, the film score. About 15 minutes long. This one focuses on the composer, David Julian, and his incredible haunting score and sound design.
Oh, excellent. That score is so critical.
Totally, and often overlooked in analysis. This featurette apparently has isolated score tracks, interviews about how he created that soundscape, which, as you said, is less about big themes and more about atmospheric dread, subterranean sound design.
I love that they're digging into this. Julian's work is what makes those quiet scenes where they're just listening, hearing distant scratching or dripping water so unbearably tense.
Exactly. Getting insight into how he crafted that dread, maybe manipulating actual cave sounds, using high-frequency pitches for the crawler screeches, tells you how they psychologically weaponize sound and silence against the audience. It connects right back to why that DTS-HD 7.1 track is important. The sound isn't just background noise, it is the suspense. Marshall used massive dynamic range, sudden loud scares against suffocating quiet. That audio track needed to deliver that contrast perfectly, make you jump out of your fucking skin.
Okay, what about the older stuff, the legacy content? Are they just ported over?
The sources say they are carried over and remastered, which is key. The Descent always had decent extras, even on DVD, but having them cleaned up and presented properly alongside the new stuff, that makes it the definitive package. No need to hang on to your old discs.
What are the highlights from the legacy pile?
Well, the dual commentaries are absolutely essential. You've got one with director Neil Marshall and the production crew. That one's super technical logistics of the sets, lighting challenges, practical effects, choreography. A real masterclass in indie filmmaking ambition.
And the second commentary?
That's Marshall with the main cast members. Usually a bit lighter, more focused on performance, on-set anecdotes, the chemistry between the actresses, and just the sheer physical and mental hell of shooting those scenes in the dark and the wet.
Right. You need both sides. The how we built this nightmare and the how we survived filming in this nightmare.
Exactly. Then there's a strong focus on the practical side of things, which defined Marshall's approach back then. The Descent. Beneath the scenes, about 25 minutes covers stunts, the water sequences, the massive effort of the set construction. And
Creating an underground world 20 minutes gets into the specifics of designing those cave sets, making them feel real and inescapable, plus the UK location shoots they used for exteriors. It's important to remember they built this shit. This wasn't green screen caves. They built a massive, interconnected, terrifying underground world on a soundstage.
Yeah. Think about the complexity, making it look wet, cold, dangerous, ancient, but still safe enough barely for actors and crew. When you see them squeezing through some impossibly tight passage, that passage was real, built to be exactly that fucking claustrophobic. That authenticity matters.
And the monsters, the crawlers.
There's a special breed of actors and effects about 15 minutes. All about the prosthetics, the makeup, the creature design process. These things were actors in incredibly detailed practical suits. See how they sculpted that pale skin, the musculature, the blind eyes? It makes the horror feel so much more tactile and honestly, sickeningly real. No floaty CGI bullshit.
What else is carried over? Any deleted stuff?
Oh yeah, deleted and extended scenes, about 15 minutes worth. And the description specifically mentions more crawler attacks. That's collector catnip right there. More unrated, brutal mayhem. Fuck yeah. Plus, you get outtakes, about 10 minutes, which might offer a tiny bit of levity. And the fine, fearless, and feisty 15 minutes, which focuses specifically on the female ensemble and its dynamics. A reminder that the casting was a deliberate, powerful choice. And then some cool extras like storyboard comparisons, and even something called caving, a high-definition experience, which is apparently just real HD footage of actual caving.
That might be the scariest extra of the lot, showing you how genuinely fucked up those real tight spaces are.
Probably. So yeah, the takeaway on the extras is this isn't just a disc with a movie. It's the definitive historical and analytical package. 2-3 hours of deep dives into the making of, the effects, the themes, the legacy. It fully justifies the collector's edition label and the price tag.
Okay, section 4. Let's talk collector stress. The packaging, the price, the scarcity, the physical object itself.
Right, because if you're dropping, say, $35 or more, you care what this thing looks like on your shelf. And this is a Lionsgate limited exclusive steelbook. They usually go all out.
So the design, what's the vibe?
Premium. It's got this deep matte finish, apparently, with embossed textures, supposed to mimic rough cave walls. So when you hold it, it feels cold, rough, maybe a little dangerous. A tactile connection to the film's dread.
Okay, the art. Front cover.
From the descriptions and images, it sounds fucking spot on. Instantly iconic. It's a shadowy silhouette of a crawler, like emerging from jagged rocks. Claws out, reaching towards a single flashlight beam, but the beam is smeared with blood.
Ooh, nice detail.
Yeah. The color palette is mostly monochromatic grays, rock, shadow, earth tones, but with these subtle, sharp red accents, just for the gore drips. It's menacing, it's atmospheric, it focuses right on that moment of terrifying confrontation. That blood-smeared beam tells the whole story. Light versus dark, hope versus horror.
Okay, that sounds great. What about the inside art? Often overlooked.
Not here. This sounds brilliant. It's apparently a split design, reflecting the two endings. One side visually represents the U.S. ending that false hope, the survival tease. The other side represents the U.K. ending the total hopeless despair. Presented as if seen through, like, fractured cave mirrors or something.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
actually really clever. It acknowledges the collectors getting both versions, and the packaging itself holds that tension, that narrative split. High concept packaging for a brutal film. It's like visually representing Sarah's fractured psyche.
Exactly. It shows they really thought about the film and its history. Beyond the main art, you get other collector details. Crawler face etched on the spine, 20th anniversary title, a full-color slipcover repeating the key art, and reversible inlay art.
Reversible, what are the options?
One side is the classic 2005 theatrical poster art. The other side is new anniversary-specific art. So you can choose your display preference. Maximum effort. They know their audience for these limited runs.
Okay, let's talk money and availability. This is where the stress kicks in. MSRP is listed at $44.99.
Right, but the street price, the pre-order price through Lionsgate Limited directly, and probably places like Amazon, Walmart, Target eventually, seems to be hovering around $34.99.
That's actually pretty reasonable for a premium 4K steelbook with a new scan, 2 cuts, hours of extras.
It is competitive. But here's the scarcity alert. This is a limited print run. They don't announce exact numbers usually, but these things often cap out low. Maybe 5,000 units, maybe 10,000 for the entire U.S. market, sometimes even less.
So let's cut the crap. This shit is going to sell out fast.
Oh, absolutely. If you're a serious horror collector, you cannot sleep on the pre-order. The flippers, the scalpers on eBay, they'll be on this immediately. prices will likely skyrocket on the secondary market.
And Lionsgate kind of stoked that fire, didn't they, with an extra incentive?
They totally did. Amplified the stress, created immediate FOMO, fear of missing out.
The pre-order madness. The first 500 orders directly through their website came with a poster signed by Neil Marshall himself.
Boom. That guarantees the initial wave sells out instantly. It forces impulsive buys. And if you missed out on that signed poster, you're going to be seriously pissed off. It creates tiers of collectors right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's some stressful marketing right there. Any other collector concerns with Lionsgate Limited stuff?
Well, sometimes international availability is tricky or delayed, which sucks for fans outside the U.S. And there's always the gamble with shipping. Steelbooks can get damaged easily, spine slashes from the factory, dents. Getting a pristine copy of a fast-moving limited run can be nerve-wracking. Oh, and they include a digital code, but it's only valid for 90 days, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but kind of stingy. The focus is clearly the physical disc.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Outro time. This has been a deep and necessarily explicit dive into what's shaping up to be, probably the biggest horror 4K release of 2025 so far, technically speaking.
Right.
Let's recap the absolute essential nuggets you need to know.
Okay, nugget 1, new, native, 4K scan from the original camera negative. That means killer detail, deep fucking blacks thanks to Dolby Vision and HDR10, and a super high bitrate around 7980's peak to eliminate that compression bullshit in the shadows.
Nugget 2. Both cuts are here, finally. The bleaker, better, original UK unrated cut, alongside the censored US theatrical cut, side by side. Audio is excellent. DTS-HD master, audio 7.1, powerful and immersive, even if, the lack of Atmos is a slight bummer for the high-end crowd.
Nugget 3. The packaging is a collector's dream. Premium steelbook, embossed, great art, that clever inner design reflecting the two endings. It respects the film.
Nugget 4. Special features are stack hours of stuff. Brand new retrospectives with casting crew offering 20 years of insight, plus all the essential remastered legacy content on the practical effects, the sets, the creatures. It's the complete historical document.
So who needs this? Obviously hardcore horror collectors who demand reference quality. Film preservation nuts who appreciate that OCN scan. And really, anyone who loves this film and wants to rediscover it looking and sounding better and more terrifying than ever before.
Yeah.
This is the definitive shit.
Now, before we totally sign off, one last point the source has confirmed. This release, it's only the original, The Descent. No Descent, Part 2 included.
Right. And while a casual viewer might think, so what? For purists, that omission actually matters. A lot.
Why is that?
Because Part 2, let's be honest, it felt like a cheap, studio-mandated attempt to undo the perfect, brutal tragedy of the first film. Specifically, it had to completely ignore or retcon the definitive UK ending to even exist.
Ah, right. Sarah had to have survived the unsurvivable ending for the sequel to happen.
Exactly. It was a commercial compromise that undercut the original's power. So if you connect the dots, the fact that this definitive 20th anniversary collector's edition excludes Part 2, it subtly reinforces the finality and artistic integrity of Marshall's original vision.
Never thought of it that way.
Marshall's original film, especially that UK ending, basically screams, fuck that, to sequels, to easy answers, to happy endings. It's a closed loop of despair. So maybe leaving the sequel off the disc is a quiet way of saying, this is the true statement. This stands alone.
Raises an interesting question for you, the listener, then. In a world drowning in sequels and franchises, does Marshall's original brutal masterpiece actually benefit artistically from this definitive edition, treating it as that singular, standalone tragedy, by just ignoring the bullshit follow-up?
Something to definitely mull over while you're watching those crawlers crawl out of those deep 4K shadows.
For sure. So, our advice, grab your copy of this limited edition shit now, pre-order it, don't wait, because if you hesitate, you're going to be seriously fucked up and pissed off when you see those scalper prices later.
Absolutely. Get on it. Until next time on The Deep Dive.